Yeah, I think that's probably 10, 15 to go, whatever. How long is it? Time. What's the time? Yeah, I would do it at 15 to go. And Stephen, once you start rolling that, can you square us up here?
So I met Kevin in 1992 because my car needed some work. And a friend of ours said, hey, you should go to my buddy Kevin. He moonlights out of his garage at night. We got to know each other a little bit. But as my father would say, it just seemed like there seemed to be a lot of problems with the car all of a sudden for a while, where he's like, there's no car has this many issues. There's something more going on here with her and her car. So, I liked him, and I wanted to continue kind of popping in, and he knew it. And then he asked about if I'd like to come over to his place and have dinner. And I said, sure. So he made me a steak dinner and had a little silk rose on the table. But most of our, quote, dates were he drove a modified for somebody, and so it was on a Saturday that we would start at that person's house and play some horseshoes and just kind of hang out, then load the car, go up to the races, come back, and sit around, talk about the races and such. Doing local racing was one thing, but then he wanted to branch out a little bit more, and he just felt like he needed more, and he was tired of the hometown racing. So he wanted to try and take a chance on a traveling series, but he did the Hooters Pro Cup series, and that started it with a friend of ours had a car that he would run. That was a lot of good times because we had friends that had the cars that we ran with, and they were a riot. I mean, the road trips that we took, when it would be raining, we'd be in the hotels playing cards, and a lot of memories, and like I said, but a lot of laughs. I mean, we have been blessed on so many levels throughout the years, and Grand National actually helped him continue when he had a point. The day came that I never thought would come, where he just said, I'm done. I just have no passion left in me, and no fire, no anything, and I don't want to race anymore. I've never thought I'd feel this way, but I don't want to race anymore. And it was the people that were in Grand National that reached out to him and said, please don't let that put a bad taste in your mouth. Like, come to us. When it comes to Grand National Super Series, Kevin just felt that series had just the foundation of what racing was and what it is, and should be, and could stay. That's the thing. It's tough to get sponsorships anymore. The money's tight even on the business end. So a lot of the times it comes from your pocket. And you wanted to run with people that were experienced, that they understood the value of taking care of the car, turning wrenches themselves, working on their own stuff. They don't have tons of people that are doing it for them. You come knowing that you're going to give it your all. You don't have to be a front runner. You don't have to be a big name. You don't have to be anything. Just, hey, if you love to race, this race is for you. If you feel like, hey, I don't know, if you're on the fence, jump the fence. Come and try it, because that's what we did, and we stayed, and it was great. And I think those memories with family, attending the races, the victories, the highs, the lows, the tears, just hanging out at out back of a hotel, just sharing food and everything at 2 a.m. and laughter and talking personal stuff. I mean, we all had those memories, and that's the biggest part of it, and the celebrations. And that's why it's still important to me to celebrate those things, still have these races, stay connected, wanting to be a part of having K2 Motorsports and the funds that we still have remaining in the account. Even though we don't have race cars on the track, I still want to provide some things and celebrate his memory and the way that he would want it to be. Like, he's like, I still want everything to go on. Make sure everything stays on the up and up, and that people continue to grow and advance in the sport, and do what you can to just continue to celebrate and give back. That's what I'm doing, and that's why like I said, building more memories at the track and off. Those are the things that are vital.
Me and Kevin, it was the closest you can get to each other without tearing each other's cars up, because we come sliding down the front stretch, door to door, inches apart, never touched each other. But just good hard racing. Wish he was still here to do it with us again.
Very respectful guy on the racetrack and for sure off the racetrack, and wish we had more racers around like him.
It's a win-win for everybody with these type of cars, and we're not spending a ton of money to race.
And welcome to Dominion Raceway for the Kevin Kromer Memorial 77. We are the Grand National Super Series presented by ECC Engineered Components Company. I am Joshua Weatherman. Alongside me, Chris Graham. And Chris, we are in for an absolute treat tonight at Dominion Raceway.
I really think we are. Back here earlier in the spring, we had a little bit of an issue, maybe a little bit of a demolition derby. I think we're going to see something very different tonight. The racing has been spectacular here today. A lot of really quick cars in practice. I'm looking forward to this one.
Usually twin 50-lap format for the Grand National Super Series, but this time such a special race, we decided to mix it up a little bit. 70 straightforward laps for these guys. Usually it's 50 laps, intermission 50 laps. This time 77 laps, it's go, go, go.
Yeah, it's going to be a big change both for the drivers and the teams that are preparing these cars as well, because not only are you having to prep mentally and physically as a driver, but you're having to prep your race car as well. Getting ready to run these cars for 77 straight laps is a big ask. Got to save tires, got to conserve your equipment, got to be really smart. And that's something that you're going to see with drivers with this much experience.
And did we count in the fact that it's double the purse, double the points, in honor of a great friend? I mean, we could be in store for the greatest Grand National Super Series race of all time in its short history.
I really think we could. I mean, Kevin Kromer was not just a gentleman, but he was a friend to this entire garage area. A spectacular night that we're going to have him here, to have this memorial race, I should say, for Kevin here tonight. Have his widow here with us and some of the family members. It's really going to be a special night. And they have done an incredible job of putting the money together for this thing. It seems like about every 7 seconds you're going to have money going out the door here, and it's all going out to 7th place. That brings up the big question. Do you lag back and try to pocket some of the money, or do you want to run up front all night?
Well, let's talk about that. Jeremy Mayfield, our fastest qualifier, collected the Jalou Performance LLC Pull Award earlier in the day. Does he stay in 6th, fall back to 7th, and try to collect that money for a couple of laps? Or does he go ahead and charge up front to try to get the lead early, try to keep the lead, and take home the win in the Kevin Kromer Memorial 77?
I think that's a great question, because Jeremy Mayfield has done about everything there is to do in these cars. He led completed 122,000 laps in the Cup Series over his career, which is just an insane number. And now he's driven about everything else there is to drive since he left the series in 09. He's really doing some incredible things here in the Grand National Super Series. We saw him wrenching on the car earlier today. That's the neat thing about this series to me. These are Gen 4, basically Cup cars. And it's a handful of guys putting them together, handful of ladies, really doing an incredible job to get these things ready to race.
Well, let's talk about Jeremy Mayfield some more here. All he has to do is start this race, and he is your 2025 Drivers' Champion. However, on the owner's side, Jeremy Mayfield in D2 Motorsports leads by 60 points over A.J. Hendrickson in ECC Motorsports. However, since we do have double the points, that is just a 30-point difference between he and A.J. Hendrickson. So that is another storyline to look after tonight.
Yeah, they talk about in NASCAR about the Owner's Championship and the Drivers' Championship, and you kind of just go, that's a big deal for these families and these teams that do this. We're getting ready to see these cars roll out onto the racetrack. I'm really excited to see this. 77 action-packed laps coming up on a Saturday night. I think it's about ready for us to start heading trackside and get some starting lineups. And now as we see the front of the field lined up here, we're going to talk about them in the order that they qualified, but that's not the order you're going to see them in necessarily. 6th place, Mike Wallace, is going to start on the front row of this race because of the invert. He qualified at a lap time of 16.194, almost half a second off the pace that was set by Jeremy Mayfield. That really changes how these guys are going to run. You see the top 2 cars there on your screen. Mike Wallace, Mitch Stapleton. It's going to be an interesting front row leading this field to turn 1.
Well, let's talk about Mitchell Stapleton just a little bit as well. This is his first year ever in stock car racing. Not just these cars, but racing, period. Stapleton 42 on YouTube. If you go search him up on YouTube, very well-known YouTuber for his garage tours, antique collection, everything that you can imagine for a short track racing fan, a NASCAR fan. Now he is starting second. Last time out over at Franklin County Speedway, 2 top 5 finishes. He's really getting acclimated with these Grand National Super Series cars. What can he show us tonight?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see that because the last time we were here, he yard sailed that race car pretty much. Backed it up into the wall. The Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania native really did some damage to that race car. Able to get it fixed, but had to take several races off. He's only got 8 starts, but now he has 2 top 5s, and they were both in the last races at Franklin County. I think you could see the momentum carry with him a little bit here as we run these 77 laps tonight.
And then we go back into row number 2, the number 18 of Chris Burns, a one-time winner here in the Grand National Super Series, collected that victory last year over at Carteret County Speedway, his home track. Been really, really close to a victory in 2025, but it just seems like luck will not let him go. Could he get it done here tonight at Dominion?
I'm really interested to see that. I mean, he's got 11 top 5s in 17 starts this season. He's doing everything right. I mean, the guy's got 1 win in 23 career starts. It's all there. It's just a matter of, are we ready to go, and is the driver going to be able to make these 77 laps work?
And then starting alongside him, A.J. Hendrickson. It seems like this year, if Jeremy Mayfield's not in victory lane, it's the number 46 of A.J. Hendrickson. Again, we talked about that owner's title fight. What can he do from the 4th position? He won a race earlier this year here at Dominion Raceway, the race that you mentioned in the pre-race. Could he get it done again here at Dominion Raceway?
I really think he can. I mean, it is a really, really stout race car. And A.J. Hendrickson is a name that should be familiar to a lot of fans. He has run everything, just about. I mean, he's run NASCAR Xfinity Series cars. He has had a ton of success in the Trans Am Series. Those are kinds of cars, if you're not familiar with the road racing side of things, that's a lot of Camaros, Mustangs, a very similar driving style to this, where you kind of have to muscle the race car around a little bit. It's not a nimble little thing, and that's a big, big thing with these cars here at Dominion.
And you see starting behind him the number 11 of Jamie Mosley. Mosley's also still chasing that first career Grand National Super Series victory. This guy was a jailer in Kentucky, had a cup of tea in Xfinity and what is now known the Truck Series. So what in the world is he doing here? And it just shows the fire that these racers have. Go from racing in Xfinity and trucks, go to being a jailer, and now he says, look at this Grand National Super Series. Let's field a car once again.
It's so cool because what we're seeing out of Jamie here is he's run the dirt modifieds, the UMP or the IMCA style modifieds. So basically, we just saw on the racetrack here. It's fun to see the variety of people that drive these cars. I think we need to give a shout out here towards the back of the pack. That white number 66, Larry Wilcox. That Larry Wilcox, star of Chips alongside Eric Estrada. If you are of the older generation who is tuning us in on YouTube, it is so cool that we get to have Larry Wilcox out here and a decorated Vietnam veteran, Vietnam War veteran. It's pretty cool that what we get to see. He owns cars in the ARCA series. There's a whole lot going on with these drivers.
And you also see in the 23, we talked about Mike Wallace. How about Chrissy Wallace getting her name back into the stock car racing world? ASA West regional champion back in 2011. She took a long break, had a child. Now she's back in stock cars, fielding a car for D2 Motorsports alongside teammate Jeremy Mayfield. I mean, it's just a family affair here in the Grand National Super Series.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing out of Chrissy Wallace is really something pretty special. She's only got 4 starts. She started in the last 4 races, but all 4 of those were in the top 5. She started, I believe, a pole position because of the redraw last time we were out. You know, we're talking about a young lady who really has a whole lot of skill behind the wheel. She's run Xfinity, she's run truck, she's an ASA West region champ. There's a lot going on here that, you know, I'm excited to see what we get out of her tonight.
And then, of course, in that blue 75, Bob Schacht, ARCA legend. 17 ARCA wins for Bob Schacht in the number 75. He is part owner of this series. He's also still chasing that first Grand National Super Series victory.
Yeah, seeing the car we have on, there's a car on the racetrack right now. That's probably the engine noise you can hear. That's the 15 of Jeff Thomas out of Halsapple, Pennsylvania. He had issues in practice earlier today, thought he grenaded an engine. Right now he's running around without the hood on the race car, trying to basically see if that car is going to even be able to make the start.
I mean, you have to give their crew due diligence. This is not the big-time crews that, say, the D2 Motorsports team has or the Bob Schacht Motorsports team has. These guys are coming in on a shoestring budget, and to see that car even out on pit lane rolling right now is a sheer miracle.
Yeah, as the field is now going to start to roll, we'll see if that 15 will tag in at the back. But I would imagine we're going to be pretty quickly here going to green. A little bit of a delay as we waited for the 15 there. I think as we get ready to see the sun set here, that's going to change things a little bit. Just that little bit of a delay we had, let the sun clear the trees. The drivers will not have sun in their eyes at either end of the racetrack. You're going to see this racetrack start to cool off. When it cools off, engines make more power, tires make more grip. This one's going to be fun.
You see the starting lineup on the screen. Again, we covered Mike Wallace and Mitchell Stapleton in the front row. Chris Burns and A.J. Hendrickson make up row 2. Jamie Mosley, Jeremy Mayfield, row 3. Then row 4, we talked about Bob Schacht in the 75, Chrissy Wallace in the 23. And then row 5, young rookie micro sprint superstar Garrett Andexler in the number 5, driving a car fielded by Bob Schacht Motorsports, and Larry Wilcox in the number 66.
Yeah, Garrett, I'm a little bit surprised that he's as far back as he is in this one. 2-time winner of the Rumble in Fort Wayne. Really, really talented driver. I'm a little bit surprised that we saw him here. Jeff Thomas, Dave Hutchinson also scheduled to make up the final row of the field here as the last couple of cars are going to make their way out onto the racing surface. 77 laps will be the distance here tonight. Josh, you're the voice of this series. What are you expecting to see?
To be honest with you, I expect a little bit of chaos in this 77-lapper. This is this guy's Super Bowl. This is the Daytona 500 for these guys. And to honor a friend like Kevin Kromer, this race means so much more than any other race in 2025. You talk about the sun going down. How about a competition caution, lap 25, competition caution, lap 50. Then you throw in the 777 challenge again. So, I mean, these guys have so many strategies going through their minds right now. It's hard to pick out which one's going to be favorable to win.
Yeah, it's basically every lap that ends in 7, a pile of cash is going out to the 7th place driver. Right now, that's going to be, let me math hard, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's going to be the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield. He's already won everything there is to win this season. He can pick up, what would it be, his 10th win of the season if he's able to pick one up here tonight. And we've seen it in the past this season where he's started mid-pack and he just bides his time. And he's just going to hang out. And he's going to ride, and he's going to ride, and he's going to ride until it's that last handful of laps, and then it's go time. I'm really excited here. We're getting ready to see the pace car dive off of turn number 4 here in just a moment. The 44 of Mike Wallace, the 42 of Mitch Stapleton. They will lead the field to green. As they come off of turn number 4, the start of this one, race fans, it's going to be all yours.
Mike Wallace with a big jump coming out of turn number 4. He will lead his first lap in Grand National Super Series competition.
1 lap on the board, 1 lap in the lap-led column for Mike Wallace. Seeing a great battle towards the back of the pack here. The 75 of Bob Schacht, the 42 of Mitchell Stapleton. That 42 car does not look like it is good handling at all. He is falling like a rock through the pack.
Not the start that Mitchell Stapleton wanted. As you see Jeremy Mayfield going to work on that number 42 machine coming out of turn number 2. Mitchell Stapleton now falls into the bad graces of the 66 of Larry Wilcox. Again, not the start this 42 wanted at all.
Yeah, and how about it? Chris Burns really doing a nice job holding on to that second position. You can see the double box here up on the screen. Top 3 on the left-hand side of your screen. There's Mitchell Stapleton falling towards the back on the bottom right-hand side. And we talked about it. Jeremy Mayfield, he's the guy sitting in 7th position as we get ready to hit lap 7 for the first time.
You see in the upper left-hand corner, Chris Burns and Jamie Mosley already going to work in that 3rd position. We talked to him earlier in the day. He is so hungry for that first career win, but he's going to have to get through that 18 and 44s. It looks like we're going to battle some lap traffic here already coming out of 2.
Yeah, that's going to be a story here tonight. That first lap down car, Jeff Thomas, obviously that car just not able to keep up. May even be black flagged for not meeting a minimum speed. But that really opened things up here as Thomas got up against the outside wall exiting turn number 4. He lets the whole field by, but that really opened the gap up. What was kind of nose to tail is now a 3-4 car length advantage.
So if you're Chris Burns and Jamie Mosley, you have to be thinking to yourself now, again, lap 25, competition caution. Do you push it real hard here, or do you try to get that lead, put yourself in good track position for the restart?
I honestly don't know at this point. As we see the 66 of Wilcox pulling up to his trailer, and his night will come to an early conclusion here, just 7 laps in. I really think after the carnage we saw back in the spring, you're really going to see these drivers settle in, don't make the mistake. You don't want to be, the air quotes, that guy that's going to screw it up for everybody else. Settle in, log your laps. This is a very, very long race.
Yeah, I hate to see Larry Wilcox hit the pit area here. Blew an engine over at Caraway Speedway, took a long break from action here in 2025, so really glad to see him back at Dominion, but again, not the race he wanted in that number 66 machine.
Next car they're going to be coming up to is going to be the 62 of Super Dave Hutchinson. That'll be the next car to go a lap down, and he will do so in turn number 2. Really doesn't allow things to tighten up at all. Of note in that Owners' Championship, A.J. Hendrickson holding on to the 4th position. Jeremy Mayfield still running back there in 7th.
Jeremy's probably thinking about them 7s, man. $777 on the line. Still behind the number 5 of Garrett Endexler. Endexler making up some ground here in the early stages.
Yeah, Endexler might be your biggest mover. That car is absolutely flying right now. Mike Wallace, your race leader, running a 16.649. Caution is on the speedway. Tough hit. Bob Schacht up against the outside wall in turn 1.
They've been working and wrenching at this number 75 in the shop, trying to get it back out on track. To see it go up in smoke here coming into turn number 1 against the outside wall. That'll bring out the first caution flag of this event. Hope to see Bob Schacht lower the window net. Hopefully the Dominion track safety crew will be on the scene here shortly.
Yeah, and you can see that left rear tire is pushed out a couple of inches. That was a pretty big hit for the 75 here up into the outside wall.
Have to maybe wonder, was it a tire failure, a suspension failure? You could kind of see the tire marks going into turn 1 prior to impact. So, man, hate to see that for the Bob Schacht Motorsports guys.
Yeah, so now as the field works their way around under the caution flag, we are working lap number 11. Let's reset the field a little bit for you as you see them come past. Mike Wallace is your race leader. He has led all 11 laps since the drop of the green flag. Ordinarily, you would say first time in a race car, maybe a little bit of a surprise. But this isn't a surprise of a car to Mike Wallace. He has thousands and thousands of laps in this kind of car.
And I mean, success in these kinds of cars, too. Not just thousands and thousands of laps. A multi-time NASCAR Xfinity Series winner, a multi-time NASCAR Truck Series winner, used to those heavier vehicles. So, again, to your point, it's not very surprising to see him leading this many laps this early.
So it sounds like we got a replay here that we'll be able to take a look at and see what happened to the 75 machine. Seeing it come by on the speed shot initially. Oh, he just straight up smacks the outside wall. That was a big hit. Big hit on exit. I figured that would have been the hit into turn 1. But, man, Josh, that was a big hit coming off of turn 4.
And you're talking about coming off of turn 4. That is one of the fastest areas of this Dominion Raceway. So very tough break for that 75. Probably going to be a little shaken up after that one.
So just waiting to see Bob climb out of that race car. He is climbing out now. Yep, there we see Bob in the fire suit there, up against the driver's window. Tough break there for Bob Schacht. A big hit. He'll make his way down to the inside of the racing surface here in just a moment. And this is something else to think about here. Caution laps aren't not counting right now. We're sitting still at lap number 11. Are these drivers going to carry enough? Do they have enough fuel in the car? Might they have to take fuel at the later stop?
Well, they would certainly hope not. Because these guys, a lot of these guys don't plan on this many caution laps, this many incidents, caution flags, etc. So we're good for right now, but if we jinx it a little bit more and we have a little bit more caution flags, I think we might be in some trouble.
Yeah, and even stuff like, that we've talked about in the past, how these guys they don't change tires, they might make adjustments under a pit stop where you're going to put the wrench wench in, or you're going to do, track bar adjustments and those kinds of things. But you're not making tire pressure changes, you're not making tire changes themselves, maybe one if you get a flat. But who knows what you get if you run into a really, really long situation where you're not running 77 laps, you're running 150 laps because of caution flags.
And you have to put in the factor, too, that a lot of these guys, they don't have cool suits. They don't have any kind of air blowing on their face and their body for this race. So a lot of mental and physical exhaustion for these drivers behind the wheel.
Yeah, there's something to be said for that. It's hot as we take another look at the replay here. Almost looked like something broke in the right front of Bob Schacht's car there. He went dead straight into that outside retaining wall, exiting turn number 4.
That is just the helpless feeling. Again, coming out of turn 4, you're picking up on the throttle once again, and when you're trying to steer off the corner and this doesn't turn, I mean, you can't imagine the emotions going through Bob's head right before impact.
Yeah, and this place is almost a little Dover-esque in that you kind of dive off into the corner and it spits you back out of the corner. The car gets very light on corner exit, and you're carrying a ton of speed at corner exit here. That's a bigger hit than it might perceive here. Let's take a look. We're going to pick up the 44 of Mike Wallace. Josh did a fantastic interview with him earlier today. Let's hear what Mike had to say.
It all come about two different reasons. My daughter Chrissy was driving with Jeremy Mayfield, and I came and watched the last couple of races, Franklin County and Carteret. And AJ and I got to know each other just a little bit, and he made a comment to Chrissy that, hey, your dad wants to come race again. I got a car for him. Well, that's all it took. And it's just once you race in your life, you just want to continue. Am I a little nervous? Yeah, I haven't raced in a few years. I dirt raced 2 months ago up at Bulls Gap. And but I think it's cool. I think of my experience with my daughter. I get to race with her or against her, and another field of great cars. So we're gonna have a good time. Nothing would be greater for us to run the evening, be able to do some battling side by side, bumper to bumper, and finish however we're gonna finish. But I guarantee if I have the advantage to outrun her or the opportunity, I'm not letting her have bragging rights. She'll wear me out for however long if we let that happen.
Interesting stuff to hear out of Mike Wallace. I'm going to say he almost got hosed a little bit earlier this season. He got told he was okay to run a NASCAR Cup Series car, and then the sanctioning body kind of changed their mind on him. He's out here, like he said to you, he's out here having fun. He's out here to have a good time, and that's what we're seeing. The field's getting doubled up. We're getting ready to go back racing, but we've only got, 14 laps left until the first stage competition caution. Man, I think this is where business might pick up.
We'll look at that front row on the choose. Jamie Mosley moving up, taking the outside lane. The outside lane not really preferred here at Dominion, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens on this restart.
I'll tell you what, they're almost beating and banging on corner exit here as the green flag goes back in the air. And Mosley sends it way deep into turn number 1. He'll pick up the lead off of 2.
Well, never mind what I said about that outside groove not being pliable, as now Mike Wallace picks up second. A.J. Hendrickson working on third there in the outside lane as they scream by our speed shot here at Dominion Raceway.
I'll tell you what, that outside lane looks, it might be picking up here just a little bit. We'll see how this stacks up. Right now, you've got Chrissy Wallace battling with the 5 of Garrett Andexler. Andexler trying to make that outside lane work as Chrissy Wallace a little bit loose. Exiting turn 4, that'll give the spot to the 5.
It's not just Wallace that's loose. Mosley has been sliding off the corner every single time. Mike Wallace still trying to get that lead back, but again, A.J. Hendrickson right in his shadows, dancing in his rearview mirror.
Oh, baby, Mike Wallace, he was sideways. He wrecked that race car. He just didn't finish it. Same thing for Andexler into turn number 1. Chrissy Wallace slides high off at 2. Battle for the race lead as well. Wallace outside of the 11. New race leader back at the line, put Mike Wallace to the head of the field.
Dominion Raceway racing like a dirt track here as A.J. Hendrickson now goes to the attack on the outside lane out of turn number 2. Mosley really sideways on the bottom. Maybe it looks like there might be a problem with that car unless he's just settling in line.
Yellow. Caution flag is out. There has got to be fluid or something on the racing surface in turns 1 and 2. Because my goodness.
I think that 15 of Jeff Thomas may have been the culprit. I saw him heading the pack in the back. He was going very, very slow below the apron, so maybe some fluid coming out of that machine. I'm not 100% sure, but that could very well be the culprit.
Maybe, because everybody was sideways for 3 or 4 straight laps there. It's one thing for somebody to get loose. Maybe you hit a little speedy dry, something like that. This was everybody was loose and all over the place. And as we see the track workers out here, yeah, you can see they're pointing up at the racing surface exactly where that oil is. This is what in the drag racing world they call an oil down. And in the drag racing world, it costs you a lot of money when you oil down a racetrack. I don't think we'll be seeing anything like that here. But, and we'll see if maybe we can get our camera ops to take a look at this. Can we get a close-up, hyper close-up of the front of these race cars as they come down the front straightaway? You might be able to see these things covered in oil. Yeah, a little bit. I think you can see a little bit there on the nose of Chrissy Wallace's car. It's crazy. It doesn't have to be a lot of fluid. You're not talking about bathing the car in oil. It's just enough that it gets on top of the racing surface, and you might as well be driving these cars all night.
And this track, relatively new. It's losing grit by day, year by year. So this racetrack is not like it was when we first visited here earlier in our Grand National Super Series tenure. So it was already slick before, but you add that oil on top of it, I mean, like I said, it's like a dirt track.
Yeah, it's a great point. We were walking the track earlier today, and I'll use the word character. There's a lot of gouges, there's a lot of cracks in the asphalt. It's not deep, it's not like the surface is coming apart. It's just aging, the way you love to see a racetrack age. And that's where you start to see the racing really get good, because that's when the second line starts to open up.
Mike Wallace and A.J. Hendrickson at the front of the pack will lead the field back to green. Lap 15 laps in the books as the green flies. We are once again green here at Dominion Raceway.
Mike Wallace maybe showing a little bit of the experience there as A.J. Hendrickson gets the great drive off at turn number 2. Oh, he scrapes the outside wall. Still side by side for the race lead off 4.
A.J. Hendrickson's shot out of a canyon coming out of turn number 4. Give that lead to A.J. Hendrickson in the number 46, but Mike Wallace not going away easily.
No, he does not go quietly into that good night. It's a 2.5 car battle as they make their way into turn number 3. Back in the battle for the 4th position. That's going to be Chris Burns and Jeremy Mayfield side by side.
Coming up here on lap 17, Garrett Andexler in the 5 in that 7th position will pick up an extra $77 on his behalf. But again, Jeremy Mayfield starting to make hay in that number 19 machine, now going to work on the 11 of Mosley.
Well, now you're starting to get towards the end. The competition caution coming at lap number 25. Mayfield trying to make that outside lane work right up on the outside of Mosley in the middle of 1 and 2 that time. just not quite able to make it stick. But you need to kind of lay the rubber down first before you're going to get that move to actually work later in the race.
Well, you saw the sparks fly from that machine. Is that machine well handled enough to handle the outside, as he's still going to work on the 11 of Jamie Mosley? Behind him, Chrissy Wallace and Chris Burns in action. Garrett Andexler right there ready to pick up the bones if anything happens between them.
Yeah, it's basically, of the 8 cars on the racetrack, 7 of them are nose to tail. 9 cars on the racetrack. Mitch Stapleton a little bit back from these guys, but he's holding that 8th position. Nothing really going here at the front of the field. With 20 laps on the board now, 21 going up on the scoreboard, I think you're going to start to see that changes. Here comes Chrissy Wallace.
You saw maybe a little bit of contact there coming out of turn number 4 as they'll battle side by side out of 2. Garrett Andexler again waiting to pick up the bones if anything were to happen between the 23 and the 18. Now the 18, an innocent bystander, is now Andexler worked to his inside.
I'll tell you what, Chrissy Wallace barely clipped the apron inside of turn 3 there. It got the car loose, but it pushed her up the hill and into Chris Burns. Garrett Andexler had absolutely nowhere to go. He had to just watch it through. What that did do, it allowed the top 4 to separate themselves, as we are just a couple of laps away now from the competition caution.
And you think about Andexler, this is only his 3rd Grand National Super Series start. He's watching all of this in front of him. I don't think he's really panicking. I think he's learning from this. What can he do to his race car to make it faster? What can he learn from these veterans like Chrissy Wallace, like Chris Burns in these stock cars?
Yeah, there's a whole lot to learn there towards the back of the field. Lap traffic will not come into play here, as we are getting ready to see lap number 25 go up on the scoreboard. The blue and white flag displayed at the start-finish line. At that line, it'll be A.J. Hendrickson leading the lap.
Hendrickson leading, Mike Wallace still holding 2nd position. You see at the top left, Mosley and Jeremy Mayfield going to battle for 3rd. Mayfield sticks his nose underneath. Not going to work that time around, as we should be getting the competition caution at any moment.
A.J. Hendrickson going to lead the lap. Man, we had 2 close battles there. Mike Wallace thought about really diving into turn number 3. Discretion, the better part of valor on that one. As now A.J. Hendrickson going to come and lead the field off of the corner. We stay green. Lap number 26 now up on the scoreboard. And you wonder, does this kind of throw the drivers off a little bit? They were anticipating a caution here. And as this race starts to settle in now it's a waiting game. Are we going to get a competition caution? When are we going to get that competition caution? Now you're having to start looking at, we'll pick up the 5 of Garrett Andexler as he's trying to chase down Chrissy Wallace. It's within a car length as they exit turn number 2. But do you make the push? Is it worth it to make that push? Because now if you're going to run this as a straight 77-lap race, guess what? We're only a handful of laps away from halfway.
Well, there will be a competition caution thrown at some time. Maybe they just lied to him in the driver's meeting to keep them on their toes a little bit. But again, if it's me, I'm pushing all the way. I'm trying to get the best track position there is to get, because Hendrickson, Wallace, Mosley, Mayfield, all of those guys, they're not going to be easy passes whatsoever.
No, and that's what you see out of these Grand National Super Series drivers here as we continue to roll side by side. It's a matter of, when do you push and when do you want to make that move? If you have that uncertainty now, I don't know that you want to push it at all, because I'm going to let the guy in front of me burn up his tires. I'm going to let the driver in front of me wreck his equipment. All I have to do is just stay there. Just stay there, apply the pressure. You will force that driver into a mistake.
We see A.J. Hendrickson backing up just a little bit to that 44 of Mike Wallace. You have to wonder, is he one of those drivers saving his tires, saving his equipment? There's still 44 laps to go here at Dominion Raceway. Mike Wallace, though, he doesn't seem to be saving at all. He's right there on A.J. Hendrickson's back bumper. I mean, he hasn't been in a race car in a while. He wants to feel like what it's like. I can't talk. This race is so exciting. But he wants to know what it feels like to lead a race this many laps once again.
I'll tell you what, it's a 16.609 the last lap for A.J. Hendrickson. They are slowing down to the tune of about a 10.5 or so a lap. It's not every lap they're losing a tenth, but they've already lost a 10.5. They're getting really close now to starting to lose 0.2. You just have to think, either these tires are starting to go away a little bit, or these drivers are trying to save their stuff, because We're down to 42 laps to go, about 5 or so away from halfway in this 77-lap race. Man, it is really great battle here as Andexler inside of the 23 of Chrissy Wallace. And how about the glowing brake rotors? Great work by the camera operators picking up those glowing brakes on the 5 of Andexler. They're really driving these cars hard here at Dominion.
Well, if you look at the right front of Chrissy Wallace, if we can maybe get a little bit of a closer up shot, there is some body panels hanging from that number 23, so don't know if that came from a little contact or whatever, but Chrissy Wallace might be dealing with a little bit of mishandling in that 23 machine.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. You'll see, so there, you don't see the brakes glowing right now, right? Because that's because she's not using them at all. There you see the glow start to pick up, and there, just on the right front corner of that car, you can see a little bit of bodywork flapping around. And we talked about it. These are not the fiberglass bodies of a late model or a super late model. These are steel bodies. You can just bend that piece back, throw a little tape on it, you're good.
We see back up here at the front, Mike Wallace, Jamie Mosley, and Jeremy Mayfield. You can throw a blanket over these three battling for the second position. Mayfield again slowly but surely making his way through the pack. See if he can cap off his championship season with a victory.
Josh, I am so impressed. It took you 40 laps to get to a cliche like throw a blanket over him. That's impressive, man. Good stuff. Now, we've got these three, though. You talk about throwing the blanket over them. This becomes tough because you're trying to find your groove, find your lane. You're trying to race your own race. You don't race the other cars. You race the racetrack at a place like Dominion. But now, all of a sudden, the more you have to do that, you got people where you want to be.
Track's pulling off, track's gaining more grip, so you have to wonder again. Now A.J. Hendrickson backing up to Mike Wallace. It seems like one lap Hendrickson's gaining on Wallace, one lap he's backing up. So this is really interesting strategy from the number 46.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about how much they're giving up. It was a 16.609 a handful of laps ago. Now it's a 16.783. It's almost 2/10 slower, and we've only gone to basically 10 laps. The pace of this race is dramatically slowing as we are now down to just 33 laps to go. We're getting close to where we would be seeing the second competition caution, and we haven't had the first one yet.
I know one guy that's not sitting back and relaxing right now is that number 19 of Jeremy Mayfield. He is all over the back bumper of that 11 jailbreaker potato chip machine of Jamie Mosley, but he'll have to work some lap traffic against the 62 of Dave Hutchinson taking the high ground. Yeah,
Super Dave clears himself out of the way and does so pretty rapidly as well. Where I'm just totally loving every bit of this. Chris Burns is pocketing money left and right on these every 7 laps we're going to give money away things. But because of how clean and green this race is run, they're almost half a lap down back in that 6th, 7th, 8th position. Man, I don't know how hard you want to push if you're these drivers back here. But, man, it's time to go. You got 30 laps to go.
30 laps to go, and you wonder, what do you want more? That $77 put up by KT Motorsports, or do you want that Kevin Kromer Memorial 77 trophy? As you see, Jeremy Mayfield losing some ground on the 11 of Jamie Mosley at the top left of your screen. On the bottom right, Andexler and Chrissy Wallace seem to be glued together. These two have been battling all race long.
It was pretty cool. We were having some vittles with the Kromer family before the race here. Got to see a buddy, Sammy Borger, that I called races for years. Sammy is the ultimate low-budget guy when it comes to racers, and he does not want the money. He wants the trophy. That's why these guys do it. They don't want to run 7th. They want to be running up where A.J. Hendrickson is. But, man, at this point, does anybody have anything for A.J. Hendrickson? Because you're talking a 6 to 8 car lead here. As caution is out, yellow flag is out on the racetrack with 27 laps to go. There's the competition caution. We're going to get one, and it's going to come at lap 50.
So 50 laps down, that sets up a shootout to the end of this race. A.J. Hendrickson clearly looks like he has the fast car. Mike Wallace right behind Mosley, Mayfield. Now you got to talk about guys like Andexler, Chrissy Wallace, and Chris Burns pocketing that money. Do they start to make a charge up through the field?
You just hit the nail on the head when it comes to Chris Burns. He was able to sit back there. The lap times Chris Burns was running, almost a half a second a lap slow compared to the race leaders. That's tire saving. Straight up tire saving. Now, while the leaders have been competitive, now you have Chris Burns, who's been maybe saving his stuff here. He's another guy we got to talk to before this race got to start. Let's hear what he had to say.
Well, luckily it was more or less cosmetic. No real suspension damage or nothing like that. Had some cosmetic work in the back that we had to do and a little bit up front, but definitely could have been worse. Thankfully, it was just body panels. Beat them back out, put some duct tape on it for one more run. So we had a couple issues that we fixed from Carteret County, and just really hoping to have a good race tonight. It'd be nice to come in with a win, but as long as we're competitive, we'll be happy. We've struggled a little bit this season, but here, the last few races, we've turned our luck around a little bit and run pretty good. Just due for a win now, but we've worked hard. We had a really good car yesterday. Working hard on it right this second, trying some more things. So hopefully our luck will turn around. We can get in victory circle tonight.
Field doubled up, coming back to green flag racing. A.J. Hendrickson, Mike Wallace on the front row. Green flag in the air. Oh, baby, they're sideways headed to turn one.
Looked as if Mike Wallace may have spun the tires on the restart. That'll allow Mosley to fight to his inside coming out of turn two. Now give Jeremy Mayfield a shot at third.
You talked about how this was going to pick up the business a little bit. Oh, as Chrissy Wallace goes around. Chrissy Wallace spins. Chris Burns in the contact as well. We go back under the yellow flag. Oh, she's hot.
It doesn't look as though there's much damage on either of those machines, so hopefully they'll get back going. But you're right, Chrissy Wallace. These two got into a bit of an incident over at Carteret County Speedway. So I know Chris Burns did not mean to do that on purpose, but I'm just saying the timing, pretty impeccable there.
Yeah, and we'll see. Our camera operators were on that one, I'm sure, that we're going to have a replay to check out here in just a moment as we see Chrissy Wallace head to pit road as well. She will come to the attention of her crew as we will take a look at the instant replay. There you saw Mike Wallace getting up into the outside wall and kind of bottled everybody up. Slow it down, slow it down. Oh, man. Racing deal 101 right there. Two cars going for one piece of real estate, too narrow for both.
Yeah, I say this all the time with these racing deals. It's cliche to say, oh, they're just racing, blah, blah, blah. If you're not behind the wheel, you don't know. It really is just a racing deal. Chris Burns trying to get a run going into turn 3. Didn't have any intention of wrecking that 23. Now, of course, Chrissy Wallace is going to see it differently. But if you look back at the replay, that's just two drivers going for the same piece of real estate.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I'll take the heat for the cliche on this one. Is we've got stuff going on here. Seeing what we got here down going on in the pit area. Chrissy Wallace still at her car.
Again, tensions high in a race this big. Kevin Kromer Memorial 77. You see Chris Burns back on track again. I just wish they could see it in their cars, the replay of this crash. Just again, two drivers going for the same piece of real estate. Nothing that me and you would have done differently in that situation as well.
No, that's exactly right. Before we saw some fisticuffs breaking out here, and not quite a Donnybrook, but there was something going on in the pits there. But what you saw happening on the racetrack was Chrissy Wallace was starting to make the turn down into the corner as Busch was already there. But Chrissy Wallace didn't have any other choice but to make that corner. You can say they have spotters and they shouldn't make contact and all that kind of stuff. You have to drive the corner a certain way. Chrissy Wallace does not make the corner entry where she did. She's pancaking the outside wall.
I agree totally. And if you're in the hands of Chris Burns, if you're in his head as well, I mean, he's going for every piece of real estate he can go for. Everybody's going to be 110% aggressive. I mean, we're on lap 50. It's a 77-lap race. It is time to go. No more time to waste.
Yeah, and let's start talking about the sevens money here briefly, because how many cars do we have left on the racetrack? 8, one of which is a lap down. Right now, Mitch Stapleton stands to pick up a pile of cash here over these last 3 sevens we're going to get to. But that basically means that money's out the window. Nobody is running for that right now. They are running for the race lead. It's going to be the 46 of Hendrickson, the 44 of Wallace on the front row. Field's going to get a little bit of an instruction here to shuffle the order, the restart order. Not sure who they're gesturing at.
It'll be interesting to see if Mike Wallace, who saw him restart on the outside, got a little bit of wheel spin at the start-finish line. So it's been a little bit since he's done a restart, but I don't really think that played into it. I think the track's just still a little bit slick. Sun's still going down. It's got a little bit more grip, but again, we talked about it earlier. This track aging day by day, year after year. These restarts are tough in these big, heavy machines.
Yeah, I mean, you can see the absolute beauty shot. Golden hour perfection out of the start-finish line camera here. You can see it getting darker into turns 1 and 2 as the sun sets over turn 3. I really think you're going to see this field start to get tight because as they've been running this race, the marbles and the bits of rubber have been sliding off the tires, and they're kind of going only about a lane and a half up. You don't have a second lane necessarily to get to. I think that's why we saw Mike Wallace spin the tires on the last restart.
A.J. Hendrickson, Mike Wallace, dead even going into turn number 1. Mike Wallace slides up the racetrack. Now Jeremy Mayfield all over that number 44, almost contact with the outside wall, but again, give the lead to 46 of A.J. Hendrickson.
Contact into 3. It's going to be Andexler into Mike Wallace. Call it the classic bump and run, but it's 2 for 1. A blue light special. Hendrickson still holds the race lead, and here comes Jamie Mosley.
Mosley looking for that first career Grand National Super Series victory. I asked him earlier, what would it mean to do it here? He said it would mean the world. As Mike Wallace, though, from the penthouse to the outhouse, not what that 44 driver wanted to see at all.
No, as we're down to 25 laps to go in this 77-lap Kevin Kromer Memorial. Hendrickson holding on to the race lead over Jamie Mosley. We talked about what the lap times were, 16.8, 16.9. How about 16.5, 16.4 last time by? These guys are flying.
It looks as though Hendrickson's strength is off the corner, but Mosley's strength is entry. So we'll see how does that even out. And again, right behind them, Jeremy Mayfield in third. You know how he likes to lurk in these races. Can he be a say in the ending of this race?
I think that's a great point that you make, how these drivers are pushing at different ends of the corner. The 46 of Hendrickson backs the corner up. That lets him get the pedal down a little bit faster, whereas Mosley is doing the exact opposite. You look in the other box that you see in the bottom right-hand corner of the screen, seems like everybody kind of starting to have to back off their corner entries a little bit as we'll pick up the race lead. Down to 22 to go, 21 laps to go now. A.J. Hendrickson leads. Man, this one's going to be good.
And Jamie Mosley had to do a lot of repair to that car after Caraway Speedway got into the outside wall. So these guys put a lot of man hours into this machine. Maybe they made it just a little bit faster in those adjustments heading into Dominion.
It is a very pretty race car to look at as well. Some of these cars, they're steel body. You can do a lot to fix, air quote, fix the steel body when you run a short track. That's a very pretty looking race car. Not a lot of bent up sheet metal on the side of that number 11 machine as they come past the speed shot and into turn number 1. I'm really curious to see if Mosley's going to have anything here because he's going to have to push really, really hard here inside of 20 to go.
Well, I would hate to be in the position he's in because he's sandwiched in between the giants of the Grand National Super Series. Like we talked about earlier, A.J. Hendrickson, Jeremy Mayfield, it seems as if those two are the only ones that have visited victory lane this year, and for the exception of 2 at Lonesome Pine and Orange County Speedway. So Mosley is in a precarious situation here. He has to hold off Mayfield behind him. He has to pass Hendrickson in front of him. We'll see what he can do in that 11.
Well, I'll tell you what, we talked about how he was a jailer. He's been between giants before. Maybe not with race cars around him, but he's been in that kind of stressful, pressure-packed position. I really think you're going to see Mosley do something interesting here as we are now down to 16 to go.
We look at the bottom right. You talked about Mitchell Stapleton collecting those 777s. So really interested to see what his strategy is for the rest of the race as he'll battle Garrett Andexler, Mike Wallace back there as well. But the battle for the lead up top, A.J. Hendrickson, Jamie Mosley, and Jeremy Mayfield.
Yeah, we're seeing Mitch Stapleton start to catch up to Garrett Andexler, but I don't think he wants to pass him. He's content to at least pick up the money and wait till the last lap maybe to make that pass. Of note, Mosley is not gaining at all, and his last lap time almost 0.2 slower than A.J. Hendrickson.
Yeah, he is going to have to pick it up tremendously if he's going to give Hendrickson any run for his money. But again, the battle right there behind him, Jeremy Mayfield trying to get to the inside of that 11. Jeremy, see if he'll have a say before this thing is over.
We'll shift our gaze back to that back in the back of the pack a little bit as Mitch Stapleton was right up underneath the back bumper of Andexler coming off of turn number 2 last time by. Going to open it up again to about 2.5 car lengths or so.
Well, you talked about it. If you're Mitchell Stapleton, big crash here for Garrett Andexler. Looked as though he might have blown a tire exiting turn 4. Caution will fly on the racetrack. A huge impact for that number 5 machine.
Yeah, that number 5 machine went straight into that wall. Very similar almost to what we saw out of Bob Schacht earlier in the race. You wonder if these guys are blowing right front tires. That makes it a concern for everybody at that point now.
Well, the thing is that number 5 is Bob Schacht's teammate. Both of those cars come out of the Bob Schacht Motorsports stable. Could it be a tire issue? Could it be a suspension issue? We'll have to get a little bit of a closer up shot on that number 5 to see if the tire's down, but very weird situation for the 75 and 5.
Yeah, it looks like both of those cars, as we are going to go under the red flag. Seeing a red flag here at the start-finish line. So we will wait word from track safety officials here as everybody's going to get lined up against the outside wall. And I'm thinking this may be cleanup related. So as we come under the red flag here, we will wait to see a replay until we have verified that the driver is okay. But now, Josh, as we're working lap number 64, 37 minutes have elapsed in this race. Almost all of that under green flag conditions. That's a lot of stress to put on these right front tires, a lot of stress to put on the right front suspension components. There's a lot going on here under the hood of these cars that we talked about the fact that you can't drive it like a late model. You can't hustle the car.
And what about the drivers, too? The mental gymnastics they're going through right now. Like you said, just go, all of those laps behind one another. Now they have to stop on the front stretch. You wonder what's racing through their minds. What can I do to make the move on A.J. Hendrickson? Jeremy Mayfield's thinking, what can I do to make the move on Jamie Mosley? So a very, very precarious spot for all of these drivers. Maybe not the best thing to be left alone with their thoughts right now.
So as we're getting a look here at the car, it looks like the 5 of Andexler is able to get out of that car. He's right kind of behind the arm of the tow truck. So good to see Garrett able to get out of that race car because that was a scary hit.
And yeah, these are not, we don't have safer barriers here at these short tracks. This is pure concrete, steel body to concrete impact. So very, very well good to see Garrett Andexler head out of that number 5 machine.
Yeah, that was one of the big things that came about from the switch from the Gen 4 to the car of tomorrow to the Gen 6 car and now the Gen 7, the next gen that they're running now in NASCAR. It was getting away from heavy steel everywhere in these race cars. Those kinds of angles were really, really ugly that drivers used to take. Good to see Garrett able to get out of that race car. And now you have the cleanup that you're going to have to get done. We don't have the track sweepers. You don't have all the big blowers and everything else. You're not cleaning all the marbles off this racetrack. I really think you're going to see this thing have to be where the bump and run is going to win it.
And how does that play in the hand of A.J. Hendrickson? We talked about his strength was corner exit. Mosley's strength, corner entry. Is this going to hurt Hendrickson's heat for the lead?
So we're getting word that we do have the replay ready. We'll take a look at that one here as we are under the red flag. And, man, this just scary. There you see the component break. And, wow. Big hit and an almost instantaneous stop. That was huge for Garrett Andexler.
And just a helpless feeling for the driver of that 5. You see here again in slow motion. Everything going well right here, and then just out of nowhere, boom, sparks fly underneath the machine.
So as the car is up on the hook, We'll see if we can get a nice tight look at that right front corner, see if it was either a tire or a suspension component that may have been the issue there. But the tire obviously down, but I don't know that may have been as the result of the impact with the outside wall and not necessarily what caused the incident. But, man, big hit there. As we see the yellow flag come out at the start-finish line, the engines refire. And now that's going to take Mitch Stapleton out of the 7th position. And this is actually an interesting question. Super Dave Hutchinson, I don't think, can catch up. So does that mean that the 5 of Garrett Andexler is going to get the 7 lap money because he's going to be the 7th place car at the completion of the lap?
That is a very, very good question. Didn't think they thought that one through with the equation, but, you know, these Grand National Super Series races, anything can happen. So I think we've seen that today. Very, very great race around Dominion Raceway.
Yeah, this race has been fantastic. A lot of fun to see these cars. There's just something about the roar when they fire the engines. You put the boom tubes on these things and you go, wow, man, this is awesome. Great sounding cars. It's a visual that takes you back to when you were a fan as a kid, as a young adult, even as maybe a little bit of an older adult. But the cars are fun to watch. The names are fun to see them driving back out here. And you can see it in the racing out here tonight. They're not slacking off here. This is not an exhibition.
No, not at all. These guys race like this every single week when they race head-to-head, combat-to-combat, door-to-door, bumper-to-bumper action.
So the field is doubled up. It will be A.J. Hendrickson on the inside of row number 1, the 11 of Jamie Mosley on the outside. Row number 2 will have the 19 of Jeremy Mayfield and the 18 of Chris Burns. Mike Wallace and the 62 of Super Dave Hutchinson on row 3. Mitch Stapleton going to be solo on row number 4. As green flag's back in the air, we're underway once again. Big drive into the corner by Mosley, but here comes Hendrickson fighting back off of 2.
Side by side heading into turn number 3. Mosley and Hendrickson. Mosley again hungry for that first career win. Almost a little bit of contact coming out of turn number 4.
What a drive by Mosley. Absolutely nut up and ball out off of turn number 4 to keep that car at the front of the field, and it's going to be a car length advantage into 3.
A.J. Hendrickson, Jeremy Mayfield, second and third, first and second in the owner's points. You have to wonder what the implications are there, but Jamie Mosley trying to ride off into the sunset with the Kevin Kromer Memorial win.
We talked about it in the pre-race. Jeremy Mayfield sits back and waits. Now he's going on the attack with 10 laps to go. He gets around A.J. Hendrickson. Here comes Jeremy Mayfield towards the front of the field. Jamie Mosley holding about a 0.6 of a second advantage as we are going to be down to 9 laps to go this time by. If Mayfield saved anything, it is go time. The difference is about a 1/10. That time past the start-finish line. Mosley at a 16.4. A low 16.3 for Mayfield. Side by side just further back. That's going to be the 18 of Busch and the 44 of Mike Wallace. Keeping an eye here at the front of the field as we now go double box. Mayfield starting to close. Call it 2.5 car lengths that time by the start-finish line. 7 laps to go in the Kevin Kromer Memorial 77. Man, this is going to be 2 exciting finishes here. At the front, Mosley continues to hold on. It's still Mayfield faster. He's inside of a car length off of 2. 5 laps to go this time by. They'll get the 5-finger salute at the start-finish line. Mosley still holds on to the race lead. Mayfield is going to have to try the bump and run. The outside lane just is not there. Is Mosley going to make the mistake? Is he going to open the door? 4 to go this time. Mosley, Mayfield, Mosley, continuing that nose-to-tail battle. Hutchinson may come into play here. Hutchinson way up the racetrack into turn number 1. Mayfield slides up ever so slightly. Diamonds the corner off by a hair. And it may open the door here next time by as they get into turn number 1. If Mosley was checking the rearview mirror, he saw a different line out of Jeremy Mayfield that time. Running nearly identical lap times. Half a car length separates the two with 2 to go. White silk flies at the start-finish line. Mosley leading Mayfield into turn number 1. Mayfield not quite close enough. Mosley, great exit off of turn number 2. Mayfield's there. Does he try it? Checkered flag in the air. Mosley wins it. Jamie Mosley by a 1/10.5 over Jeremy Mayfield. What a finish here at Dominion. Oh, my goodness. Joshua Weatherman, you're down there trackside. Hopefully you're able to hear me here. What a finish. So the 11 of Jamie Mosley picks up the checkered flag. The Jailbreaker Potato Chips entry will get to make the victory lap here, and he will make the appearance in victory lane in just a moment. 14 starts in his rookie season with the Grand National Super Series. 15 starts if you want to count tonight. 13 top fives, and he picks up his first win in the series. So as we see the 11 of Jamie Mosley making his way down into victory lane here at Dominion. What a show we got here tonight. Josh Weatherman, talk to me, brother. What did you see down there? How did that race look from up close?
What a way to win your first ever Grand National Super Series race in the Kevin Kromer Memorial 77 here at Dominion Raceway. A very spirited battle between Mosley and Mayfield at the finish. Mosley ready to head out of that race car. An emotional night for that 11 Jailbreaker Potato Chip machine. Jeremy Mayfield in the 19, not the run he wanted in second, but he will lock up both the driver championship and the owner's championship for D2 Motorsports and Donnie Doster. As Jamie Mosley getting all of the race car paraphernalia out.
Josh, let's get you over there to talk to our race winner here, Jamie Mosley, getting ready to climb out. Man, what a job holding off Jeremy Mayfield. Mayfield tried everything he had. He was 1/10 of a second faster almost every lap over those last 10 or 15. And let's give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Jamie Mosley.
Jamie Mosley out of that number 11 Chevrolet. Jamie, if we could get you to the front of the car in front of these great fans at Dominion Raceway. I talked to you earlier in the day about how would it feel to win your first race in such a special event. Jamie Mosley, you're a Grand National Super Series winner, but more importantly, you're a Kevin Kromer Memorial 77 winner. How did you hold off that 19?
Well, we just Greg and Bobby have worked on this thing so hard all year long, and we spent the entire week with Bruce Cook this week, and PJ Bryant did a great job on the shocks all year, and and Bruce just really got us back on track with where we needed to be, and we've been working really hard to find the speed, and so I guess now it was worth taking off 2 weeks, right?
It seems as though this track and you have a special relationship. What is it about Dominion that connects with your driving style so well?
Well, I think it's just a bigger racetrack, similar to a lot of the stuff we ran in the Busch Series and trucks. And thank you, bro. That guy right there is a big reason that I came to this deal in the first place. When you can run against a guy like him and be successful, you can be proud of that.
Jamie Mosley, the winner of the 2025 Kevin Kromer Memorial 77. We'll head over to Jeremy Mayfield. Jeremy, the 2025, not only the driver's champion, but also the owner's champion. Sum up this 2025 year and how much fun you had.
Man, I've had a great time this year. It's been probably one of the best years of my life as far as racing goes. And, we just worked hard. We worked very hard all year long and on both cars, and just really proud of everybody involved, all of our sponsors. We got a ton of good people to help us, and it's not just me. I just get to drive it. I know you hear that a lot, but that's true. And but we got a lot of hard work went into it. We won a lot of races, set on a lot of poles, and won a championship. And that was our goal, And Jamie had a great car tonight. I was proud of him. We'd love to win the race, and we didn't. And he and AJ and myself and Mike done a great job in his car, and just a fun night overall. We had a little drama going on there somewhere in the pits or whatever, but I hope all that gets straightened out.
Probably the question the fans want to know the most. Are we going to see you back here in 2026?
I don't know yet. I don't know what I'm going to do in 2026. Who knows? I don't know right yet. The way that I like the series, I love running here, and it's a fun time. And I've had probably the time of my life racing in the last couple of years. But just a lot goes on, and that who knows? I don't know what I'm going to do. Who knows yet? It's up in the air, and hopefully I'll know soon.
That's Jeremy Mayfield, your 2025 driver and owner's champion. As AJ Hendrickson will get you to the forefront of TV here. AJ, a very spirited run for the number 46 car. First of all, tell me about your performance, and do you think you had anything if there were a little more laps left?
No, not really. Maybe I wore it out a little bit too much in the beginning. I don't know. I wasn't sliding a whole lot, trying to mind my P's and Q's, and just at that last restart, just slid a lot and just slid in the front a lot, and maybe I overdid it in the beginning a little bit. But great race overall. Had a lot of fun. Love this racetrack and can't wait to come back.
Did you see any differences in the car compared to your normal twin 50 lappers to a so on and so forth 77 lapper?
Yeah, for sure. These tires, once you get just sliding a little bit, they really heat up, and it was a whole different deal running those extra laps for sure. I'd like to thank ECC, Anchor Bolt and Screw Engineered Components Company, my mom, my dad, and my lovely wife.
That's AJ Hendrickson, your third place finisher in the 2025 Kevin Kromer Memorial 77. For those of you watching live on Facebook and YouTube, the Grand National Super Series pages, we thank you so much. Tune in on our Facebook page tomorrow morning for our 2025 Bakewin.